Hello, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be going over 3 ACT math questions. For all these problems, I recommend pausing the video and trying the problems yourself first before you see me solve them. Without wasting any time, let's get into it. Question 56 says, event A consists of 6 simple events, event B consists of 3 simple events, none of which are in event A, and event C is the union of A and B, and event D is the intersection of A and B. Which of the following statements is true? And then it also tells us that event X consists of n simple events, where this notation means event X has n amount of simple events. So for example, event A has 6 simple events, right? Okay. Now it basically wants us to put the events in increasing order for the number of simple events each of them have, right? So we need to know for this problem what intersection and union mean. So let's start with event C first and figure out how many simple events it has. So it says event C is the union of A and B. Union just means you take the events from event A, you take the events from event B, and you just put them all together, which means 6 plus 3 is 9. So event C is going to have 9 simple events. The last one is event D is the intersection of A and B. So this is basically asking us how many of the events overlap. Well, if you notice in the sentence above, it says event B consists of 3 simple events, none of which are in event A, which means they don't overlap at all, which means event A and event B don't intersect. So event D has 0 simple events. So now we know how many simple events each event has. We can just figure out the correct answer choice. So B is 3, A is 6, right? So we should be looking for D, B, A, C, right? Which matches answer choice J. On to question 57. Question 57 says the ratio of A to B is 3 to 1, and the ratio of B to C is 6 to 1. And it asks us what is the value of 2A plus 3B or 4B plus 3B. So notice, we have 2 separate ratio groups, right? A to B is 3 to 1, and the ratio of B to C is 6 to 1. In both ratios, B is common, right? So I want you to think of the variable B as the bridge connecting A and C. Right now, the problem is that B is represented by 2 different numbers, right? It's a 1 in the first ratio, A to B, 3 to 1. And in the second ratio, it's represented by 6, right? So what you want to do is you should get B to the same number, and I'll show you why. So if we multiply the first ratio by 6, right? A to B, 3 to 1. And if we multiply this by 6, this becomes 18 to 6. Now, remember, B to C is 6 to 1, right? Now, since B is a 6 in both places, this basically connects A and C, and this establishes a bridge. So basically, you can just write it as 18 to 6 to 1 for A, B, and C, right? Because you can just read it as when A is 18, B is 6, and C is 1, right? Because A is 18 when B is 6, and C is 1 when B is 6, right? So now, if you know this, all you have to do now is you can just plug 18 in for A, 6 for B, and 1 for C. So let's do that. 2 times 18 plus 3 times 6 over 4 times 6 plus 3. And now if we solve, well, 36 plus 18 over 24 plus 3, that's 54 over 27, which is 2. So that means our answer is D. So remember, for this type of question, just take the common variable and make it the same number in both ratios, right? And then you can just plug in your other two variables. In this case, it was A and C. On to question 60, which says the function below is defined for constants a and b and for all positive integers n. And it tells us r of n equals a times b raised to the power of n. It is known that r of 1 equals 1/2, r of 2 equals 3/2, r of 3 equals 9 over 2, and r of 4 equals 27 over 2. And it asks us which of the following functions is equivalent to r of n. So for this question, my recommendation is just to plug in first 1 into all 5 of these answer choices and see which one gives you 1/2, right? To see which of these functions is equivalent to r of n. And let's say if multiple of these functions give you 1/2, then plug in 2 and see which one gives you 3/2, and then plug in 3 to see which one gives you 9/2, okay? So let's plug in 1 first, and we want 1/2 as our answer. So let's start with answer choice F. 3 times 1/2, n minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. 1/2 raised to the power of 0 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. So it's not F. G, 3 times 1/2 times 1, it's 3/2. We do not want that. We want 1/2. So it's not G either. Let's look at H. H tells us 1/2 times 3 over 2 n minus 1. 1/2, 3 over 2. That's 1 minus 1 is 0. 3 over 2 raised to the power of 0 is 1. So this gives you 1/2. So this is possibly correct. Same thing with J. 1/2 times 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. This also gives you 1/2. So this is also possibly correct. And K, 1/2 times 3, that gives you 3/2. So it's not K. So our answer is either H or J. Now let's plug in 2 and see which one gives you 3/2. So let's plug it into J first. So 1/2 times 3 over 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1/2 times 3 over 2 is 3/4, which means it's not H, and our answer is J, according to the process of elimination, right? And let's just double check. 1/2 times 3, 2 minus 1 is 1. 3 times 1/2 is 3 over 2, which is what we want, right? So that means the correct answer is J. So, yeah. I hope my explanations made sense, and thank you for watching.